Hello and welcome to Prepspot. In this video, we are going to know about a highly significant development in Indian public policy that has sparked intense debate across political and social spheres: the passage of the Karnataka Transparency in Public Procurements Amendment Bill 2025, which introduces a 4% quota for Muslims in public contracts under Category 2B of the other backward classes, OBC. This landmark legislation, passed on 21 March 2025 during a heated budget session in Bengaluru, is a key example of how state-level reservation policies continue to evolve in India, aiming to enhance social justice and economic empowerment for historically marginalized communities, while simultaneously stirring controversy and legal challenges from opposition parties. To begin with some background, Karnataka, with its diverse socio-economic landscape and a population of approximately 70 million, has a long and complex history with reservation policies. Over the decades, the state has implemented measures designed to address disparities among scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and different subcategories of OBCs. The Karnataka Transparency in Public Procurements (KTPP) Act 1999, which governs the awarding of public contracts for civil works, goods, and services, has been instrumental in ensuring that marginalized communities receive a fair share of government contracts. Prior to the latest amendment, the existing structure provided reservations of 24% for SC Cent, 4% for OBC Category 1, and 15% for OBC Category 2A. However, the new bill expands this framework by including a 4% reservation for Muslims under OBC Category 2B, thereby increasing the total reservation quota in public contracts to 47%. This legislative move is in the news not only because of its immediate political repercussions, such as the suspension of 18 BJP MLAs for protesting during the session, but also because it touches on broader issues of social justice, economic empowerment, and identity politics. The announcement, made by Chief Minister Siddaramaiah during the 2025-26 budget session on 7 March 2025, was followed by a dramatic passage of the bill on 21 March 2025, amidst chaotic scenes in the Karnataka Assembly. Media outlets like the Economic Times and the Hindu have extensively covered the event, while discussions on platforms like X have amplified the debate, with hashtags such as #Karnataka Quota Bill trending among political activists and the general public. The origins of this policy can be traced back to long-standing demands from the Muslim community for inclusion in reservation benefits. Historically, while the KTPP Act of 1999 provided robust reservation percentages for SC Cent and other OBC categories, the Muslim community, despite being a significant demographic in the state, had been excluded from these benefits under Category 2B. This exclusion had led to continuous advocacy by Muslim leaders and community organizations, who argued that the lack of representation in public contracts perpetuated socio-economic backwardness. The proposal to extend a 4% quota to Muslims was formally announced by CM Siddaramaiah in the 2025-26 budget, reflecting the Congress government's commitment to social justice as enshrined in the National Education Policy (NEP) 2020 and related initiatives. The amendment is seen as an effort to balance the scales by ensuring that a historically disadvantaged segment is provided with enhanced opportunities to participate in government procurement processes. Let's now discuss some key definitions and concepts to ensure we all have a clear understanding. Public contracts refer to government tenders for civil works, goods, and services, typically those valued up to 2 crore rupees for civil works and up to 1 crore rupees for goods and services. Quota or reservation in this context means the system of reserving a certain percentage of these public contracts for specific communities. With the new amendment, Muslims are now allocated 4% under OBC Category 2B, which is a subcategory traditionally not covered under the earlier framework. This update increases the overall reservation percentage in public procurements to 47%, thus extending economic opportunities to a broader section of society. In terms of figures and data, the revised reservation percentages now stand at 24% for SC Cent, 4% for OBC Category 1, 15% for OBC Category 2A, and the newly introduced 4% for Muslims under OBC Category 2B. These percentages translate into a significant impact on the distribution of public contracts. For example, if a state department has a tender for a project valued at 1 crore rupees, the new rules ensure that a fixed proportion of the contracts must be awarded to eligible Muslim contractors, thereby creating a more inclusive and equitable process. Moreover, reports suggest that the implementation of this amendment could lead to the creation of an estimated 10,000 jobs for Muslim contractors by 2027, which is expected to provide a much-needed boost to the community's economic status. It is important to note that this move has generated a substantial political uproar. On the day the bill was passed, 18 BJP MLAs were suspended for protesting in the assembly, leading to chaotic scenes that were widely reported in national newspapers such as the Indian Express and the Hindu. Opposition parties, particularly the BJP, have criticized the amendment as unconstitutional and an act of appeasement politics, arguing that it may disrupt the delicate balance of reservation policies in the state. In contrast, Congress leaders and Muslim community organizations have lauded the move as a step towards achieving true social justice and economic empowerment for marginalized groups. Another significant aspect of this legislation is its potential for legal challenges. Following the bill's passage, petitions were filed with Governor Thawarchand Gehlot, arguing that the new quota could be challenged on constitutional grounds. Critics have raised concerns about the overall reservation percentage reaching 47% in public procurements and whether this exceeds the limits prescribed by the Constitution. Additionally, there are worries about the administrative feasibility of implementing such a quota, especially in rural areas where only about 40% of the population has reliable internet access, which could hinder awareness and compliance with the new system. The technical details of the bill also merit discussion. The amendment mandates that all government departments in Karnataka must reserve 4% of contracts for Muslims under Category 2B. Contractors who wish to participate in these tenders must provide valid registration and appropriate caste certificates. The implementation is monitored by state procurement bodies to ensure compliance. Furthermore, the bill has increased the contract cap from 50 lakh rupees to 1 crore rupees, which is intended to facilitate more robust participation by smaller contractors who might previously have been excluded due to financial constraints. This technical modification is expected to enhance transparency and fairness in the public procurement process. From a broader perspective, the passage of this bill represents a significant moment in India's ongoing efforts to promote social equity. The reservation system in India has long been a tool for addressing historical injustices and ensuring that underrepresented communities receive a fair share of economic opportunities. However, it has also been a source of heated debate and political contention. The decision by the Karnataka Assembly to include a 4% quota for Muslims is reflective of both the evolving demographic realities and the persistent demands from communities that have been historically marginalized. This development not only has implications for public contracts but also for the overall political landscape of Karnataka, especially with the upcoming state elections. It is expected that the implementation of this quota will play a significant role in shaping electoral strategies, as political parties vie for support from diverse sections of the population. Economic implications of the bill are substantial. By ensuring that a greater number of public contracts are awarded to Muslim contractors, the amendment aims to boost the economic empowerment of a community that has traditionally faced socio-economic challenges. This can lead to enhanced business opportunities, greater participation in government projects, and overall economic upliftment. According to hypothetical projections, if implemented effectively, the policy could create around 10,000 new jobs in the space of a few years, thus contributing to broader economic growth in the state. However, these benefits must be balanced against the criticisms from opposition parties, who argue that such measures could be divisive and might lead to legal complications down the line. Socially, the bill has far-reaching implications. For many, the move is seen as a corrective step toward achieving a more balanced distribution of economic resources, particularly in a state as diverse as Karnataka. On the other hand, critics view it as a politicized measure that could foster further communal divisions. The discourse around the bill is heavily influenced by differing interpretations of what constitutes social justice and whether affirmative action should be extended to all disadvantaged groups uniformly. With data showing that protests erupted on 22 March 2025 in Bengaluru by Muslim community groups, it is clear that the policy has struck a chord among those who see it as a necessary step for inclusion, while others remain skeptical of its long-term impacts. Looking at the broader picture, the implementation of this bill must be considered in the context of India's complex reservation system, which has been a central aspect of post-independence policy aimed at redressing historical inequities. Karnataka has been at the forefront of innovative reservation policies, and this amendment represents the latest in a series of efforts to ensure that all segments of society benefit from state-sponsored economic opportunities. However, the challenges of implementation are not insignificant. Issues such as ensuring proper registration, verifying caste certificates, and maintaining transparency in contract awarding processes are critical for the success of the policy. Additionally, with a significant portion of the rural population having limited internet penetration, there is a real risk that the benefits of this amendment may not be uniformly distributed, potentially exacerbating existing regional disparities. As we move towards the conclusion of our discussion today, it's important to consider the political implications of this legislative move. The controversy surrounding the bill is likely to have lasting effects on the political landscape in Karnataka. Opposition parties, particularly the BJP, have already raised legal challenges and are preparing to contest the bill's constitutionality. This dispute is set to be a key issue in the upcoming state elections, with both sides leveraging the debate over reservation policies to galvanize support among their respective voter bases. Moreover, the outcome of these legal challenges could have a ripple effect, influencing similar policies in other states and potentially shaping national debates on reservation and social justice. In summary, the Karnataka Transparency in Public Procurements Amendment Bill 2025, which introduces a 4% quota for Muslims under OBC category to be represents a bold and controversial step in the state's ongoing efforts to promote social justice and economic empowerment. Announced and passed in March 2025 amidst significant political turmoil and public protest, the bill reflects deep-seated demands for greater inclusion in government contracts, while also highlighting the challenges inherent in implementing affirmative action measures in a diverse and populous society like India. As we've seen, this policy has its roots in historical exclusion, has evolved through decades of reservation reforms, and now stands at the center of a heated debate that touches on constitutional, economic, and social dimensions. For those of you preparing for competitive exams, this case provides a rich tapestry of issues to explore, from the technical aspects of policy implementation and the legal challenges of reservation systems to the broader socio-political implications for governance in India. It is a prime example of how state-level policies can have far-reaching impacts on social equity, economic opportunity, and political dynamics. As you study this topic, consider the interplay between historical context and modern demands, the role of data and technology in policy enforcement, and the delicate balance that governments must strike between achieving social justice and maintaining national unity. Answer this question in comments. The correct answer will be given heart and pinned. Lastly, we just want to let you know that we are a newly emerging online platform for competitive exams. Creating educational explainer videos like these requires a lot of effort, money, and time. If you like these videos and want us to excel and create videos in all categories of competitive exams, then you can consider supporting us with a one-time donation through the Quota platform and also by becoming a member through Patreon. This will help us create more such informative educational videos in the competitive exams space. So, one last time, subscribe and share this channel with all your friends who are preparing for competitive exams. And also, follow us on social media platforms. The links are given in the About section of the channel and also in the video description. So, see you in the next video.